about vibrato? I've heard so many things. What is vibrato? I don't even understand.
I ain't got no vibrato.
I've been trying to do this for years, and I can't get any vibrato.
I'm so confused. Hello, singers. Welcome to the long-awaited vibrato series by Singing Success. I'm Brett Manning. Every year since the release of our first product line, Singing Success, our 12-CD systematic vocal training program, I have had thousands of singers request help for their vibrato. It seems that the greatest need, once pitch, tone quality, and range are established, is vibrato. Those who have great vibrato but a tone quality that is less than desirable can seem to fool an audience. Why? It's because the presence of vibrato is what separates the speaking voice from the singing voice. Also, the vibrato has a way of coordinating the voice while hiding a multitude of deficiencies in tonality. Not only that, but it is therapeutic in ironing out problems with tension and tone quality. And finally, it will drastically improve your licks, trills, and runs. As a matter of fact, trills help your vibrato, and vibrato will help your trills. Usually, people with poor vibrato have poor trills. As you go through this short series, remember that sounds are a result of coordination. If you're not pleased with your sound, you must learn to not judge your voice, but rather understand the accompanying muscle coordination and how to strengthen it. The first CD in this program will deal with explaining vibrato, how it's made, why it's made, and when should it be used, and how do I develop it. The second and third CDs in this program will take you through basic exercises to break down and simplify the coordination of vibrato. Now, if you have not yet purchased the full 12-CD Singing Success Core program, you may want to soon, because the following exercises assume some knowledge of the overall methodology of singing success. Now, when using this program, initially, you will only need to go through CD number 1 one time, and then you can review it later to refresh your knowledge. Go through CD number 2 until comfortable. It doesn't have to be perfect, because what is on CD 3 will help you with what's on CD 2. Then you go back to CD 2 after you've done CD 3 for a couple weeks. Mostly, let your instincts carry you. There's no set regimen that works for everybody, so you'll have to see what is working for you, which exercises are working for you, which exercises are the most difficult, and go back and use them. Also note that some exercises are temporary coordinations just to get things moving. They're not the finished coordination. Ready? Let's begin. What is vibrato? Vibrato is an oscillation between two pitches and two pressures. The best way to think of vibrato is like a trill. That is gradually sped up, or a waving flag in the wind has it. There is, at the same time as the pitch oscillation, a change in air pressure and vocal cord tension. This change in cord tension relaxes the ears to the listener and relaxes the throat, that is, vocal cords and surrounding musculature of the singer. Vibrato increases the life of the voice as well as dramatically improving the tone quality. If you can't hit a high note with vibrato, you don't really own that note. Now, for musical theater and opera, the presence of vibrato will establish the beauty and disciplined sound of the singer's instrument within the first phrase. If I were to go out and sing the first line of a song and I remove my vibrato completely, it may sound like this. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain. Kind of boring. But with vibrato, It sounds like this. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain. Do you see the difference? There are times for certain styles or songs when the vibrato will be taken out completely and done for effect. This requires certain knowledge of styles and a general sense of interpretation and artistry, and that will be discussed later. Next, how is vibrato made? The techniques for making vibrato are as diverse as all the various golf techniques. Everybody has some idea, and we are all just looking for something that works. In the following CDs, we will formalize some of these methods. But for now, think of vibrato as being a shared coordination between the larynx, or actual vocal cords themselves, and the diaphragm, or as what we refer to as breathing. Eventually, it will be less made and more released or allowed. But for now, it is made by a combination of a deliberate pant and a deliberate trill between two pitches, like this. So if it's like a pant, it's you try it. Like this. Later, we will systematize this into a full exercise. For now, let's move on. So, how do we speed vibrato up? If you want to cook a frog alive, though I don't suggest that kind of brutality, you must not throw it into boiling water. It will only burn its feet as it is shocked into a threat of imminent death, and it leaps out of the pot before being fully submersed. The way to boil a frog is to put it in ice-cold water and turn up the temperature 1 degree at a time. The change is so unnoticeable that he will grow used to his climate and not perceive any imminent threat of danger. This is how we humans think. Ideas or patterns in our lives rarely happen through one grand event, but slowly and in a disciplined fashion. We make certain habits, or should we say, we habituate certain patterns that are hard to break. Some of these habits are good, some of them bad. With this in mind, remember that the exercise done painfully slow and then taken up 1 beat per minute faster once coordination is number 1 established and number 2 perfected will give you a clean and controlled approach to singing. Remember Michael Jordan's career and consider that discipline makes things look easy. So how do I slow vibrato down? This question applies to those who have a tension vibrato or a machine gun goat-sounding vibrato that, oh. Keep in mind that there are superstars with this kind of vibrato and it works for them stylistically. However, we want to be able to sing with versatility and with no holes in our techniques. The answer is to start over. That's right. Even though you may already have vibrato, you have to suspend your way of doing it and start using the right muscles designed to make the voice work properly and efficiently. This will be needed for application to different songs at different tempos. It will also be useful in changing up the speed to keep the listener interested. For example, if I said, "Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain." See the different speeds? And even throughout the phrasing, you hear different speeds. That's to keep your interest. Because if I'm always, "Oh, beautiful for spacious skies," your ears get tired of that. And if I'm always, "Oh, beautiful for spacious skies," again, your ears are going to get tired of hearing the same oscillation. It's the variety in the sound. It's the change-ups that keep us engaged. Now, once you have completed CD number 2, You should be able to speed up and slow down vibrato at will, but this will require a change in the groupings of musculature used to create this sound. How do I apply vibrato to a song? So subjective. Actually, there are a few objective rules in doing this. Usually, vibrato is added to words that are sustained longer. So if I said, "Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain." So I want to hold out grain, and I want to add vibrato because I'm holding the word out. That's a typical usage of vibrato. Sometimes vibrato is used on the word or words that are accentuated the strongest. So maybe if the word was beautiful for spacious skies, you'd say, "Oh, beautiful for spacious skies." And then for amber waves of grain. Amber waves of grain. All those words you want to add that vibrato to because they're words that accentuate. Also, vibrato can be taken out completely to leave a feeling of conversation to the lyric. A lot of times, this is done in bluegrass and rock music. So I might say, "Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain." Or rock, "Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain." Kind of a little attitude. You pull out the vibrato to make it more conversational. Next, vibrato can be added to excite the lyric. "Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain." That little vibrato, ooh, oh, oh. Freddie Mercury did this just about better than anybody. Finally, realize that most singers use entirely too much vibrato, too much volume, and hold notes out too dang long. We need to learn that less is more, and that sometimes vibrato can be used as a crutch for weak style or in place of a voice that is devoid of honest expression. So I have singers that come in here, and because they don't really have a developed style yet, but they know how to use their vibrato, they'll say, "Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain. Every word I sing has vibrato on it. That way you'll know I'm a singer." But it's not. It's a little bit too melodramatic. You know, you got to be able to pull it out occasionally and be stylistic. So, once you have learned to do vibrato consistently and in a controlled manner, go back and sing one of your songs without vibrato and see if you can sing a phrase or two without vibrato and do it in a manner that no one will miss vibrato. Let me give it a shot. "Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain." This concept will be explored further in my upcoming Advanced Style series. Next question. Does vibrato change with different styles? Yes. And producers in commercial music recognize this. This is why I get hundreds of emails from people who say that they just don't know how to make a pop sound and that their vibrato is too classical sounding and obtrusive. They're frustrated, ripped off singers who were told if you can sing opera, you can sing anything. It simply isn't true. You have to learn how to adapt your voice to different styles. First, you got to realize that vibrato has to be bigger and bolder for both gospel, musical theater, and opera. So instead of, "Oh, Oh, beautiful. For classical or musical theater, it'd be like, oh, beautiful, for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain. It's very bold. There's a lot of presence. It's almost all you hear is, oh, beautiful. Tons of vibrato. And for blues, the vibrato is slower, labored. Kind of like a, come on, baby. How beautiful, for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain. Oh. In jazz music, the vibrato takes on a personality that's more felt than learned as a coordination. I like to look at a jazz vibrato as being something like smooth ripples on a pond when a tiny rock is thrown. This is a case where the visualized vibrato comes in. The vibrato in jazz music is almost written into the melody. It's personal. Its personality is both deliberate and sensual. So they might say, oh, beautiful, for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties. Though I'm not the greatest jazz singer, in rock, as explained earlier, vibrato should be more of a soulful sounding vibrato, or a slightly raspy sound that gets away with no vibrato for most of a song. It's really about creating a vibe. And for that, turn to your radio and hear those great sounding distinct voices, and hear the character and personality of each vibrato. Realize that vibrato is all about creating a vibe and should be, again, unobtrusive. The vibrato will be subtle and almost hidden for commercial music, that is, pop, R&B, and country. For those forms, I might say, oh, beautiful, for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain. Not grain, but grain. Very subtle. It's almost like a quiver. And we're going to talk about that later on, and how you can get that little grain instead of grain, which is just obtrusive. It's too much. It's not commercial. The next question is, when should I not use vibrato? Whenever it first takes away from the lyric. For example, if I had some rock song and I said, love me, why'd you love me, then change your mind, why then? Now would I want to turn around and say, love me, why'd you love me, then change your mind, why then? Nuh-uh. No way. It's not convincing. It's not rock. And especially in that context. So there's a context for everything. Whenever the vibrato takes away from the lyric, leave it out. Also, usually there's no vibrato at the beginning of a phrase, though there are exceptions to every rule. So I might say, oh, beautiful, for spacious skies. And instead I say, oh, beautiful, for spacious skies. That little oh gives a little lift to the beginning of the phrase. Also, vibrato should not be used at the end of a lick or trill. If I said, oh, beautiful, terrible. Or even a fast vibrato, oh, beautiful. Just fall off the end of the lick and be done with, oh, beautiful, full, oh, beautiful. But when I full takes away from the lick. Now, again, there are exceptions to every rule. If I said, for spacious skies, the lick begins at the beginning of the word, and vibrato is sustained at the end. So again, it kind of depends, does the vibrato add or take away from the lyric? Also, when should you not use vibrato? When it is used to make the singer show off his or her voice. Some people fall in love with the sound of their own voice with that pretty little, oh, beautiful, for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain. I love my voice. For purple mountain. Eventually, all you hear is vibrato. You don't hear the melody. You hear, not good. Also, vibrato is not used in certain styles of bluegrass. I might say, I am a man of constant sorrows, and I've known troubles all my days. Very clean. Fall off the word, fall off the lick, get out of there. Don't troubles all my days. Terrible. And it shouldn't be used in chorus, in choir. If I said, Hallelujah, 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 Hallelujah. It's a little messy and hard to understand. Instead, Hallelujah, 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 Hallelujah. See, the one without vibrato is much cleaner. And background vocals, although sometimes for gospel, if everybody's using it all at once, it kind of gives it that wild, exciting flair. But typically, especially in breathy background vocals, everything is hey, 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 hey. Now for some closing statements. Listening is the key. You should spend some time listening to different speeds and characteristics of vibrato. Also, read up from books and internet articles about what others have to say about vibrato. It may be one simple thing that you haven't done or heard yet that will make your vibrato happen. And finally, try everything. Now, I don't mean like yelling or straining, but any goofy, silly thing that will make that vibrato kick on can be a good thing. Just make sure that you know what the end result should be as far as an artistic sounding voice, one that is neither obtrusive by the use of obnoxious, overbearing vibrato or the use of a too technically perfect sounding vibrato, because the first is tasteless and the second is boring and lacks freedom. Discipline in anything should not mean being mathematically or logically correct, but obeying the laws of physics for a greater freedom within the vastness of possibilities that exist within creation.